Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel. The idea for today's video was suggested by Sharvari, and that is as long as I've known you, Sharvari, you have been a giant movie buff. You're always making these obscure references from Bollywood films in the 90s, most of which I don't get because I was never that much into Bollywood films, and sometimes I find Bollywood films hilarious and not even in a fun way, just dumb. And the thing is, people from outside of India, they have a giant perception hole about Indian films. They think all Indian films are like the stereotypical Bollywood films where people sing and dance for no reason. But like those films are a well, relatively large subset, but a subset nonetheless of a much larger film repertoire, you can say, or a much larger film repository. So I think without further ado, Sharvari, I think since this is your forte and this is a topic that you know more about, like why are you so annoying? No, I'm kidding. Like
Do you want the answer in film language or normal language?
No, why are you such a like why are you into movies this much? Like why do you dance and jump around for no reason, like quoting Bollywood movies? Like why is that?
Oh, I love Bollywood. Like, I think all of our subscribers by this point must know that I am a huge Bollywood fan, also Hollywood fan. I love movies in general, and I think the reason why I like movies so much is because I grew up in the US. So, for all of those who don't know, here's a small recap. So, the first 7 to 8 years of my life, I grew up in the USA, and we lived in a community which was filled with Indians. So, there was a lot of movie culture. Like, since the winters were cold and pretty harsh, movies were kind of a way to fill that, part of not going out. Or sometimes there used to be a snowstorm, sometimes you could not go out, your school had a break. And my mom used to be super busy with cooking and house chores and all of that. So I think movies were her way of keeping me busy, but I think I got hooked onto it. Yes. In a way. And I remember, like, there is this movie, it's like a classic. So every person who is a Bollywood fan has to know this movie. I think there are two. The first is Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. So I know each and every dialogue by heart because I think from the age of one, I have seen that movie. I'm now 25 years old. So the last 24 years, I have been watching that movie at least once every year.
Okay.
So I must say, not even once, more than that.
Okay.
That's one. And Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is like, it's like a Bollywood haven for those who watch it, who have watched it, and I make references which he does not get. So let's educate him. But yeah, to answer your question, that is why I like movies. And then later, as I grew up, I started reading more about films. I got interested in direction, the way movies are edited, developed, and all of those things. So I guess yeah, that's what my interest.
Okay, and to answer the audience questions, yes, I did marry her for a green card. Now,
No, I am not a US citizen for clarification. Just
well, my motives remain pure. Anyway, what? So yeah, since you're a big like you're into films, right? And like throughout, there's this classic Roman phrase, "bread and circuses," right? Like you entertain the masses, we are bread and circuses.
Yeah.
So since time immemorial, people have found a way to entertain themselves, and there was first through poetry to like stories, songs. What exactly do you think is unique about the art form film? And specifically, you said that you're into direction, right? Which is quite unusual because most people in their narcissistic daydreams and ego trips see themselves as the actor, see themselves as like, I don't know, like being the hero, James Bond, Harry Potter, whatever.
Yeah.
So, what makes you go behind the camera rather than in front of it?
So I think the reason why that might be is because I'm a shy
First question
person
first.
by
What?
nature.
Sorry. First question
Sorry.
first. Like, what distinguishes films as an art form from?
Okay, so
Sorry.
if we start from there, I think I find films very interesting because they tell a story and they tell a story, it's like a continuous process.
Okay.
So it's not like a book, you have to imagine the characters, or poetry, again, you have to put a certain level of imagination. But I think films do that job for you, is why films are super interesting, in my opinion. So, yeah, I guess that is why films are overall interesting, I can say.
Okay.
They do the job for you.
Another direction question.
And why direction is because me as a person, I'm very, very shy. So like till you really get to know me, I'm shy and an introvert. And people like me, they're yeah, I do in Gen Z people call it main character energy or something like that. I do have that. I think every person has that. But in my case, direction is because I have a keen interest in different ways that the camera plays out different characters, different situations, than how music accompanies it. So I find that part very interesting. Like there is a certain camera angle to everything that can change the entire process of the movie.
Can you give me a working example?
Definitely, definitely. So if it's a horror movie, there is always a third point of view camera. So in this case, what happens is that um, there is a shot in which you see a old haunted mansion. So if you put the shot directly in front of the mansion, it won't be fun. You have to have a camera which is slightly in the field so that you get that effect of it being haunted or somebody else watching the mansion from a distance, and that is what really creates the horror effect in my opinion. So each angle is defining the shot.
I would say like if you want to build like a thriller, right? Like a non ghost or something like this.
Right.
Like if there's like this, let's say a classic example would be Predator, the movie Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, or this movie. Like there was this movie where, oh man, what's her name? She's famous. Jennifer Lopez is being stalked. The boy next door.
Oh, the boy
so
next
she's
door.
being stalked by someone, and so in that they have these camera angles of the woman, like taken from a secretive position, indicating that he's being a bit of a peeping tom and indicating imminent danger as far as she's concerned.
Correct.
Whereas sitcoms and like family dramas, etc., they tend to have a very neutral setting.
It's a very stable. If you like, I think everyone's seen the sitcom Friends. So if you see the sitcom Friends, you see that there is a very stable camera. The maximum it moves is just like that. That's all. So that's all.
That was a French reference, but the three claps in case people and people are like, why is he acting more retarded than these one?
Yeah, I mean, we have. I think everyone's already accepted that. It is what it is.
It is what it is. So
yeah, that's why I would say I like direction.
Okay. And are there any other technical questions or technical sides that you would like to elaborate on, or would you like to proceed with the movie review?
I think that's it. I mean, each genre has its own style of being presented in front of the camera. So if you see a romantic movie, the camera is pretty much slow because you have to capture that moment, the two characters in the essence. So you have to really see and capture it. But in the scenario of it being a thriller, it is kind of in a thriller or movie.
I just have a joke which is inappropriate for YouTube. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah, Sarang, we don't want to get blocked on YouTube. Yeah.
We won't get blocked. Our reviews will increase, but our families will disown us. But please continue.
But in the case of a thriller movie, I think what happens is that the camera is moving. So there is that element of surprise that you're not really putting up in that. So I guess that is the case for this. Okay. So, yeah. But I think we can proceed.
Yeah. Yes. So let's proceed with the movie review and the movie which is being selected for review by yours truly, Sharvari Phatak, is Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So for the Firangis, it means that you will not get to relive your life, which for a lot of you white people might be like, hey, don't the Hindus believe in reincarnation? So don't they get to like relive their lives again and again? First of all, like, like go back to your own country, you degenerates. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
An entire apology from my side to the entire subscriber count for him calling all of you guys who are so, dedicated to watching us degenerate. So
in this case, I just called the white ones degenerates.
It does not make it better, Sharon, at all.
Kind of does. Like if you look at last 300 years of history.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. These are all jokes. Don't take them seriously.
So yeah. But yeah, anyway, coming to the movie that we have chosen is Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So all of the Bollywood people out there, it is a cult classic. Like, I would judge you if you have not watched this movie. I really, really will judge you. Thankfully, he has, so I did not judge him as much. So he really, got that one.
He judges me for other things, but yeah.
Definitely, that I'll do. I'm his wife. I have full right to judge him. He has the full right to judge me. But regarding movies, I would judge you. That's why if you haven't watched this movie, I would suggest you first go and watch it and then come and watch this review because otherwise you're not going to understand anything.
Okay.
So yeah, but thankfully you have watched it. Yes. So I think we can proceed on to the next question.
It's one of the few Bollywood movies that I have watched.
You have already watched.
Yeah. So I guess these reviews, they begin with the plot synopsis.
Exactly. So I will elaborate on the plot. So the plot starts with three friends, and these are three friends who are you have been like childhood best friends, and they in their youth have made a pact that we are gonna go for a bachelor trip when one of them decides to get married. And in this bachelor trip, we have to choose one adventure sport that the others have not done yet as a group, and also you cannot disclose what you have chosen as an adventure sport, which makes it kind of interesting, and you have that whole surprise element in it, I would say. And then what happens is all these three friends, they have their own emotional baggages. And for those who haven't watched it, I will not completely destroy the plot for you guys, but just to give a small idea, one is going through a breakup, one has parental issues, one has issues with his fiance. So I think that is the baggage that they're carrying, and they really get together as a group, and that too after a long time. So then there is that element which I find really good that they've shown, is that the gap and how people have grown up over the years, and how some people grow up and how some people really don't grow up. So I think that is one thing they've shown beautifully. So these three friends decide to go to Spain for a bachelor trip. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, like I would say one thing that stuck with me was that one of them is a workaholic,
Yeah.
and he's just on this call with a bunch of Japanese colleagues, and he's just bowing and just being overly, like you could say, wait, what's that word I'm missing?
Overly loyal employee.
No, there's this word I'm missing. Anyway, he's being overly, like, be showing excessive loyalty, excessive obeisance. That's the word I was looking for. Sycophantic is the another word I was looking
Right.
for. So he's being both of those things. And at one point, his friends get annoyed with him, and they just take his phone and they throw it off a cliff.
Yeah,
and then he has
seems
to buy a
hilarious.
fake, he has to buy a Japanese phone with like a weird color and weird ringtone, and it has like a Japanese school girl, and it's pretty funny. And I also like this one song. It's called Senorita, and it's
That's
like
nice one.
it's pretty cool because it takes in like the classical elements of like French, sorry,
I think it's
Spanish.
Spanish.
Excuse me,
Right.
Spanish music. So it's like a song which is a mix of Spanish and Hindi.
And Hindi.
And so it's like one sentence in Hindi, one sentence in Spanish. So it might sound like you guys might think it sounds bad, but it sounds amazing.
It's a great composition. I mean, of course, the music is something that will definitely come to later. But coming to the plot, these friends, they reconnect, they go to Spain, and then I think the story starts unfolding, and then they have a lot of big realizations about themselves on this trip. Of course, I'll not break it to you guys, but overall, the way that they have portrayed these realizations, they've put a lot of, what do they call it, shairi in it.
Shairi is like haiku.
Snippets. Yeah.
No, roughly would be like a poetic. So it's like a short poem, similar to a haiku, or similar to like a, I don't know, never to question whether why, but to simply do or die.
They've really beautifully shown these transitions, like these realizations that each character goes to have. I think that is one thing I loved absolutely. Then the side characters in the movie have also done a great job. I mean, like we have Katrina Kaif, so she's an amazing, and famous actress in India. So we have her, we have Kalki Koechlin, so she's also a very good actress. She's actually a stage actress. So Kalki Koechlin is seasoned for the stage, but you can really see both of them put their efforts in the movie. And then you have the cast of Hrithik Roshan, you have Farhan Akhtar, who's also a director and an actor, and you have Abhay Deol. So I think all of these people together, they just create amazing chemistry. Yeah. And I would really love to see a part two. So please, if the makers of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara are watching this, please make part two. I would definitely watch it. Yeah. So I guess, yeah. And at the end of the movie, they have really beautifully shown how every character realizes, the changes they have to make in their life, because we don't get life again. We do it just once. That is why the way that they have ended this movie is really pretty. So I think all of you should go and watch it. It's on Netflix. And now let's come to the music. So
yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
The music is composed by Shankar Ehsaan Loy. It's an amazing soundtrack, and the lyrics are written by Javed Akhtar, who is in fact Farhan Akhtar's father. He's a very famous lyricist in India, and he's given a lot of respect because once upon a time he used to also write Bollywood movie scripts. So that is why he's doing a great job in the film, and he has written all the songs. The soundtrack is wonderful. I think this is a movie that came out in 2011, and it was way ahead of its time in that era. Like the whole concept of, a bachelor trip, three friends going after Dil Chahta Hai, that had not been really explored. But I think this movie kind of did that again, so it refreshed people's heads that, okay, we should have that whole Goa or that whole bachelor thing. That is a great thing that I saw. What is your opinion? The soundtrack, actually.
Soundtrack, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I don't know much about these things,
Right.
and I don't like to pontificate on things that I have limited knowledge on. So I'll leave it to you. What I will say though is because, and speaking a bit broader terms, so there is an entire class of Bollywood movies, which are all about like friends going to some exotic location and filming there. And I think it's because for a lot of poor Indians, these locations remain out of touch and out of reach, essentially, so they'll never go there. But at least they can placate themselves by putting themselves in the frame of reference of some of these characters who go and have these amazing experiences in these beautiful locations. And I think that's what represents the aspiration of a lot of people in India, to see these beautiful exotic foreign lands at least once in their life. So I think that's one element which is maybe was missing from her analysis.
Definitely.
And I think that's. I think I won't add more because I don't want to, like step on any toes and like speak on things I don't know much about. So back to you.
No, I guess I just want to maybe end this video by sharing a scene in the movie that really resonates with me. So, without going into much detail, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't watched it, but there is kind of a tussle or kind of a fight between the characters of Paran Akhtar and Hrithik Roshan. What happens is they've met after a long time. So you have to realize that people have, grown apart in 4 years and then they're reconnecting. So that gap in the dialogues is also beautifully written and displayed by each, actor.
Yeah.
It is very beautifully shown. And the fact that they reconnect and, they're trying to patch things up which are not getting patched. And Farhan Akhtar apparently has done a mistake which Hrithik Roshan has not really, forgiven him from. So he kind of has this resentment against Farhan Akhtar's character. And once Farhan Akhtar's character gets really disappointed, he's like, how many times should I say sorry for that mistake? And the thing that Hrithik Roshan's character says is that he says, I don't want you to say sorry till it comes from here. So till it comes from your heart. And he's like very least concerned about it. He's like, yeah, okay, that day will come. But then something bad happens to him on the trip, or he has a few realizations of his own, and he realizes the gravity of the mistake that he has made. And there's a scene in which Hrithik Roshan's character comes to, wake Farhan Akhtar up. And in that, he just looks up at him and he's like, I'm really sorry. And you can see the acting that he has put in. Like, he really, really meant it from his heart. I think, in my opinion, that's a beautiful scene. That's one. Another one I'll just share with you all really quick is that Hrithik Roshan's character is very scared of underwater diving. And Katrina Kaif is their diving instructor. So she's kind of teaching him and she tells him that your life is going to change. And he doesn't believe it because he's a workaholic. He's like, any time away from my laptop is wasted time. But that dive really changes his life. And then he comes out of the water and the emotions that he has displayed. He's like very, very immensely, in the moment. He's like, I just saw a whole world underwater and what am I missing? That place is so quiet. It's so, it's like meditation and what have I been doing wrong all this time? I was not living life to each moment. I think that's a really, really beautiful scene in my opinion. What's your favorite scene from the movie?
Hard to pick one. Like, it left me with a general sense of it was a nice film. I'm not that into films, as is obvious here. If I had to pick one, I guess it would be the scene where they're just on an open road and the car is just driving and there's silence. So a lot of films, especially Bollywood films, they tend to be loud, they tend to be in your face, excessive colors, motion all the time, but sometimes silences, they are poignant. And so there's like many scenes of them just driving along an open road, and like the way it's being shot just says a lot without having to put it.
Yeah. I mean, a huge shout out to Carlos Catlan, who's the DOP, the director of photography for all of Zoya Akhtar's movies, I think. It's directed by Zoya Akhtar. So he's done a fabulous job in displaying these things. So yeah, I guess.
What I will say though, as a point of criticism, because thus
Hmm.
far we have been completely congratulatory, and as we should be, it's a pretty good film.
It is great.
But there is one problem which I see, which I believe is a problem with a lot of Bollywood films, which is why today Bollywood is failing, is because they are again out of touch. Because time and time and time again, what do Bollywood movies show? Right? They show like these upper middle class, or not even upper middle class, just rich people living their rich lives in exotic locations, right? Which is like 1% of India.
Yeah.
And the problem is that many of the times, the way these people think, the way these people are being brought up, their values, their even in some cases their customs are so westernized that they're not connected to their roots anymore. And they're so disconnected from their own culture that the common Indian man who sees them does not relate to them anymore.
Oh,
Like think about it from the point of view of someone who was born in a middle class house in small town Maharashtra, like Nashik or Nagpur. He sees these people, the way they're talking, the way they're interacting. He's like, what is this? It's an alien culture that he's seeing, but these are his people. So I think that's what leads to a disconnect.
I think yeah, like the films. So you have another movie by Zoe Akhtar. Another great find is Gully Boy. I don't know if you've
That's
seen
a
that
good
movie.
one. That's a great
So
one.
it was so well shot. Again, very I think relatable to the Indian common public and the struggles of the poor man. So they're very aptly described in that movie. Of course, it was the official entry for the 2019 Academy Awards. So yeah. But there's this recent film that I saw, directed by Kiran Rao, who's Amir Khan's wife. It's called Lapata Ladies. Again, a wonderful find. So definitely, if you're on Netflix, to watch that movie.
Yeah.
I will make a separate video on that because I absolutely love that movie. But that's also a great watch. But yeah, coming back to this movie, I guess. So that would be our take on it. Right. But of course, you guys can let us know what movies you like. If you would like us to review any, take this series ahead, kind of make it a thing. Yeah. So we can maybe take your suggestion up. And apart from that, if you want me to talk about films or anything else, you can let us know down in the comment section down below. Yes. And I guess this is a good place to end the video.
As always, like, share, and subscribe.
Definitely.
And just one more thing I'll say, since the topic of Kiran Rao came up.
Yeah.
Like her husband, or should I say now her ex-husband, is someone named Amir Khan,
Yeah.
who rose to immense stardom in India. And then he had the audacity to say, and she had the audacity to say, it was actually, but just because my husband is a Muslim, he now feels unsafe in India, etc., etc. And her husband made films criticizing Hinduism, but he never criticized Islam, which is his own religion. So that was hypocrisy. And yeah, like if a country makes you a superstar, then how bad is it? Meanwhile, he's shaking hands with President Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, whose record of genociding the Kurds is well known. So yeah, hypocrisy.
I did not know about this.
Yeah.
Actually. Okay. I think I need to read up on the news about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned for the next video. And I hope you guys have a great day and a wonderful week ahead. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.